I was always fascinated by, study abroad programs. I had a lot of friends who were studying in the US as well as other countries, and they spoke highly about the education here as well as the opportunities an international student gets. I did a research of many universities abroad, and I came across Bentley, which had a great business program, as well as I think it gave me the opportunity to even dabble into marketing. I have been working with Gordon since spring of 2023. I did start as an ambassador with the admissions office, and then gradually I became senior graduate ambassador. So yeah, that was how I started recent alumni. Now I'm doing it, I'm like on the other side and doing it as well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another expert speak session with iSchool Connect. And as usual, we have two wonderful guests joining us today from all the way across the seven seas from the US, right? I have with me Gordon and Ria joining us, and both of them represent a wonderful institution in the US, Bentley University. Hi, Gordon. Hi, Ria.
Hi.
Hey, how
Thank
you
you so
doing?
much.
Good to see you again.
Welcome.
To see you as well, right? I'll begin with you, Gordon. Perhaps you want to tell our audience about yourself, who you are, and what is your role at Bentley.
Yeah, happy to do that. Well, first off, thank you so much for having us here today. We've been really looking forward to doing this. Super excited. We're obviously really proud of our partnership with iSchool Connect. And so we're really excited for today. So as you mentioned, my name is Gordon Berridge. I'm the Senior Associate Director here at Bentley University at the McCallum Graduate School of Business. I'm also a very proud alumni. I earned my MBA here. And so I've been at Bentley now for a little over 10 years. So I'm very well versed in the institution. We often joke around here. We all bleed Bentley blue because we're so fans of the institution and who we are. So that's a little bit about me. But now I'll turn it over to Ria to introduce herself.
Thank you so much, Gordon, and thank you so much, Vaibhav, as well, for the warm introduction. My name is Ria Nisar, and I'm originally from Mumbai, India, and I am a recent graduate from Bentley University. I graduated with the class of 2024 with my master's in business analytics, and I joined Bentley in fall of 2022. I currently work as a marketing coordinator with Charles River Lab, and yes, I'm excited for this opportunity to just share my experience with everybody who is watching about Bentley and life as an international student abroad.
That's amazing. This is the first time we have had an actual alumni from any institution. We usually host guests who are from the admissions department, but we are honored that we have an actual alumni joining to actually speak about their experiences about and why they actually went across, join, and travel all the way from Mumbai to the US and start a new life over there. Ria, perhaps starting with you,
Yes.
tell us a bit about your background prior to joining Bentley and what gave you the idea of studying abroad?
Absolutely. So before joining Bentley, I was working in business development back home. I did have a work experience of 3 years after graduation. After doing my undergrad, I did do an undergrad in finance, but I did feel that it was not for me. So moving ahead, I did choose my work experience related to sales and marketing and business development, where I realized that analytics was embedded in the core of any business, whether it was making like future business decisions or even evaluating and setting parameters for current objectives for a business to function. At that time, my knowledge was kind of very rudimentary, and I did believe that I do want to further and deepen my knowledge. That's how I came across, and I was always fascinated by, study abroad programs. I had a lot of friends who were studying in the US as well as other countries, and they spoke highly about the education here, as well as the opportunities an international student gets. When I was looking to applying, it was during the pandemic. So I feel at that time I was very just in that rut also of like just getting out and exploring. And I feel that at that stage in my career, having 3 years of experience, I did want to leverage that and apply my knowledge to my education, as well as then receive the necessary skills to further my career. So that's how I came across. I did a research of many universities abroad, and I came across Bentley, which had a great business program, as well as I think it gave me the opportunity to even dabble into marketing, which I had my previous work experience in, because Bentley did give you the option to select electives as per your need. And they had a great marketing program as well. And everybody spoke highly about the professors, the academic, and apart from that, I believe that a well-rounded education is very important. So the opportunities you get to be a part of like clubs or student associations, as well as the opportunity for an international student across to work on campus to help you with your living. That was great. I have been working with Gordon since spring of 2023. I did start as an ambassador with the admissions office, and then gradually I became senior graduate ambassador. So yeah, that was how I started, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. It just is so surreal. I probably like a couple of months back, I was with Gordon in office, sitting in a panel like this in a virtual environment, and I'm just such a recent alumni. Now I'm doing it. I'm like on the other side and doing it as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. So good to hear about your background. Uh, you mentioned one of your biggest motivation was skill development. You wanted
Correct.
to get a lot of exposure, and you felt that traveling internationally and coming to an institution like Bentley would actually help you hone your skills and develop your skills. Gordon, question to you. You have been interacting with international students all your life, right? What other factors or like motivations do you see among international students? That's part one of the question. Second question, what would be the weirdest of those motivations that you might have like heard in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with kind of the general motivations. And I think for a lot of international students, it's to have that unique international experience where you are working, living, and experiencing a different culture. I mean, nowadays, as we look at business, I mean, business is everywhere, and we're so interconnected. And irregardless of where you live, irregardless of where you may be in your career, we're always dealing with people from all over the world. And so for a lot of times when I speak with international students, that motivation is to come over here and have an experience that will help them develop some of those new skills, like Ria was talking about, to be able to come over, whether that's here in the United States or really anywhere, to have that exposure to different backgrounds, different experiences, to have an opportunity to kind of develop yourself, but also to put yourself in a unique situation, to let yourself grow a little bit, to have some experiences, so that when you are in your career, like Ria is now, you're able to kind of lean back on not only the experiences you had in your university, but also your experiences as an international person, as an international business person, and be able to bring those experiences into your work, into your life, and really be able to do that as you go through your career. So one of the weirdest things, I think one of the weirdest motivations I've ever heard for wanting to come here, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's weird, but I've heard some people just say they want to come and have an experience. Now, obviously, it was to come to get a good education, to come here and learn new skills. But I think for one person in particular, it was about the food. They'd heard so much about American food, and they really wanted to come here and try some of the American food and some of the, is it that much different from where they're coming from? They were talking about, hamburgers and tacos and pizza and all these things, and they wanted to try it all and come here and have that fun American experience with all the crazy food that we have here. I mean, I know that was one of their many motivations, but I think for me that was really interesting and a lot of fun. And hearing somebody wanting to come here and try all our crazy food.
So I'll share one of the experiences that I had with a student audience, and I was interacting with a group of students, one of them, one of the girls actually came ahead after the session, and she spoke to me and shared, I want to go to the US because I want to escape marriage.
Oh,
yeah. Her parents were actually forcing her to get married, and she's like, I want to escape for 2 years, get an MBA, and that would actually prevent me from save me from getting married. That was one of the weirdest things that I heard.
I've heard that a few times. I mean, I think it depends on where you're coming from and culturally and all those things. But I've heard a couple of people talk about that, about doing those things on both sides, both men and women, wanting the opportunity to kind of put adulthood on hold for a little bit longer. I think as we start to age a little bit, I think everyone starts realizing that adulthood's going to be coming up pretty quick. And so any opportunity that a lot of people can get to kind of put that on pause for a moment and really focusing on themselves is really key. So that's interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Ria, another question, right? How did you actually discover Bentley? Of course, Bentley maintains an amazing reputation among global students, among Indian students particularly as well. But I'm sure you would have had a wider consideration set when it comes to institutions. So part one of the question, how did you come across Bentley, and what made you choose Bentley as your future destination?
Absolutely. So when I was in India preparing for my exams for further education, I did approach a counselor who gave me certain options at that stage of I think I just decided on the country, but I was very lost in terms of which university to particularly go. And as they say that when you choose a university, the university also has to choose you to make like they need to also deem you fit for their needs. So I think while I was doing my research, I did take the help of a counselor, and he gave me certain options across the US of certain universities. But what drew me towards Bentley, first of all, was the university's like commitment to a well-rounded education as well as skill development. As I was doing research, I knew that as an international student coming here, my future prospect of a career was very important to me. And Bentley's career development cell is highly rated, and it has been rated by Princeton Review #1 over the couple of years. So I really wanted to, because in navigating a foreign job market is very different to how I would approach that job market back home. So I wanted that guidance as well as those skills which I know I could get from Bentley University, as well as I did have, while I was doing my research, I did connect with my seniors who are also now alumni as me. And they also spoke highly about, I don't know if like location is a consideration for a lot of international students, but I want to kind of emphasize it here because Bentley was in Boston, which is a hub for many startups, many healthcare institutions, financial institutions, many opportunities. So I know I was going to be close to those opportunities and would and get that city life, as well as because of that, a lot of these companies also came to Bentley to hire. So those prospects were really good. Bentley also had a great scholarship program for international students, as well as great on-campus student employment opportunities to assist any student. And in my capacity, it was not only I was focused on education, of course, but I really wanted to have an holistic, like all-rounded development. And I have learned so much, like being in the admissions office. I was also a part of certain like clubs on campus where I could showcase my leadership skills and be in the marketing department of certain clubs. So I feel like Bentley ticked all my boxes, and that's how I applied. And fortunately,
You actually made a very important point, right? And viewers pay pay attention to. I'm sure you would have paid attention to what Ria said. She spent a lot of time researching about the institution, right? And not only just what kind of academics or how the campus is. She focused on location. She focused on career support. She focused on the programs, the faculty, the scholarships. All of these together combine to make one holistic institution. Gordon, perhaps a few pointers from your end as well would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Ria really hit on a lot of them. And it's so interesting. We talked about marriage a few minutes ago, because I often feel like, especially at the graduate school level, it is kind of like finding a partner.
Absolutely.
You got to do your research. You got to make sure that this is going to work. Is this really going to fit for you? And so at the graduate school level, I mean, and Ria is so right. And I'm so glad that you talked about the details and doing your research, because it is so critical, and it is such a key indicator of not only your desire to want to get a degree, but I can tell you from an admissions perspective, it makes a difference. When I talk to a candidate, when I'm doing an interview, or when I interact with them, or on a phone call with them talking about the program, it really makes a big difference for me as somebody who's on the admissions committee, when I talk to a student who I can tell has done their research, when I can talk with them, and and they know where we're located, about our programs, about our institution. It makes such a big difference. And it really allows me, when we're sitting down and reviewing applications, to say, wow, Ria, I remember talking with her, and I remember her interview, and I remember going through, and she knew all of these information. It really makes a key distinction. And I can tell you, when we're sitting there and we are looking at the thousands of applications that we get at Bentley University for our programs, and we get two people, and we're looking at their resumes, we're looking at their application, and if they're very similar, one of those things that may put somebody over the top to get accepted, or even getting that little extra scholarship, may be, wow, this person, no, I remember this person. They did their research. They're really interested. They knew what they were talking about.
Right.
They're truly for Bentley. That makes a big difference. And
Right.
so I can't emphasize that enough, in being able to really make that point to do your research, because that could be the difference between A, getting in, and B, maybe getting a scholarship.
Was the application process overwhelming for you? What was your experience with the Bentley application process?
Before I answer that question, one more thing I wanted to speak about was, I feel I even looked at the percentage of international applicants, or the acceptance rate, because I knew that being a part of a diverse community was important to me, because it would be it would be that there are a lot of my peers who are in the same boat as me, packing their life in 2 suitcases and moving like 7 seas abroad to start a whole new life. And that would ensure that would have like a seamless transition moving into college life.
Right.
And yes, so regarding the application process, I believe it was actually very seamless for me. Bentley gives you the option to actually host consultations with admission officers. So I knew I had actually done that before I began my application with one of Gordon's colleague, Michelle. And I had actually spoken to her regarding what does Bentley essentially look for, and if there are any things which I have to specifically prepare for. I feel that everything was laid out to me in a very easy manner. Like, this is step one, this is step two, this is step three. The timelines were established on, on what round and what are the deadlines for the round. Once I apply, in how much time I would hear back. Further steps about, the deposit, as well as everything related to that. I know during my application, there were 2 essay questions, and I believe that I had actually spoken to a student ambassador as well during my application process, and I was just asking advice on how to approach it best. And I don't, the person who I spoke to gave me such good advice, and it was like, just be honest and true to yourself. People think that they, have to fluff out their experience, kind of add that touch and like that jizz and glamour to it. But everybody, I mean, if you're honest and true to yourself, that would actually give the admission officers a truer picture of yourself and help them connect with you more and connect with your authentic self, which will also help them understand whether you're a fit for Bentley. I know when I was in a student ambassador position, everybody's like, oh, should I mention this? Should I mention that? Should I just add this? That entire like razzle dazzle aspect of it, I feel that that needs to like dim down and just focus on like your skills, your experiences, and how you plan to leverage them and put them to use into the education and the courses which are provided by university, doing your research on like the professors as well as the courses, because there are certain core courses which you have to take once you select a program, on how that will help you in your future career aspect and how they align with your goals. That was one of the, like, that was the advice I had been given, and Bentley had made it it was a very easy opportunity, like easy thing for me to connect to a person at the university, where they could give me very like good and great advice and guide me, if even if I had to speak somebody from the career development or team or some other faculty, which would help me understand how the course is. I remember emailing a faculty member asking them, tell me what is the syllabus essentially, like if I come there, what am I going to learn? And that's how I could probably write my SOPs as well as my essays. So it was very easy. So I think Bentley made it also easy for me. So it was a very seamless process.
Brilliant, brilliant. Glad to know that. Gordon, as an individual on the other side, right? You're evaluating candidates day in, day out. What are the most common mistakes you see in the applications made by international students, and what tips would you give to our viewers over here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the most common mistake that I make, and it's really a simple one, and it's just not spell checking and not looking at your grammar. I mean, I feel like that should be pretty obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people make that mistake. And they'll misspell words, they will not use correct punctuation, and just take that extra beat to go through it and make sure that everything looks correctly. And the other thing, and Ria kind of touched on it a little bit already, is be careful when you are trying to, as she put it, jazz up your resume or jazz up your application, because you don't want to come across being too overboard, because we can catch that. I mean, I've had people who are saying, oh, they're the CEO of their company. Meanwhile, it's just their own little company. They're the only one. And, they're like delivering food, for Uber or Uber Eats, or delivering food for something. And so you just want to be careful not to over exaggerate things, because that can make a really big difference. So that's the first one. The other one I would say is going back to the application. And this is a tip I give out quite often. And when you're writing your essay, make sure you're addressing the question. That's a big mistake I see, is people will submit their application, and in their essays, they won't address the question that we're asking. You want to make sure, read through the question carefully, make sure you're addressing it in your essay. And the tip I would give you is, after you're done going through it and you've spell checked it and grammatically checked it, give it to somebody you trust.
Right.
Have them read through it. But here's what I don't want you to do. Do not give them the question. So
Right.
have them read through the essay and then have them tell you what question you're trying to answer. If within reason, they can
Of
give you
course.
what that question is, then you know you've done a good job. If they come back and they don't give you the even close to what that question is, then you know you need to go back and re-review that essay to make sure that you are addressing that question. Because if you're not addressing that question, that to me tells me that the details that are so critical and important to being successful in a master's degree, you can't handle from something
Makes
as
sense.
simple as answering a question. So that's one of my tips.
Makes absolute sense, Gordon. Um, Jumping ahead, Ria, of course, I'm sure you would have had a vibrant campus life. Talk to me about your experiences while you were there at Bentley, and perhaps share a memory that's kind of close to your heart, be it with friends, be it at the campus, be it one of those lectures that you would have really enjoyed.
One memory which is close to my heart, I feel like, is I was part of a student club which hosted events. And being a graduate student, I mean, there are events every week, I feel, because we have close to 11 or 12 student clubs. So they host events would be events every week for you to attend to get you out of the classroom and for some relaxation and enjoyment purposes. I feel like a memory close to my heart is just being at the core of planning the event and the ideation and strategy which kind of goes into making an event memorable, speaking with different stakeholders on how to execute an event. I remember we also had certain alumni support who worked in the organization before, asking them for their tips on how best to approach a particular vendor, who do you go to in the faculty for help. I feel a memory close to my heart is just being being able to create an experience for other international students as well as my fellow peers, for them to just for sort of an enjoyment, and these are not educational events. I mean, there are, of course, but we have like cruise parties, we have galas, we have students organizing events which take you on a hike to the beach for apple picking and certain events like these, and along with all the educational workshops which are there. But yeah, I feel like just being at the forefront of ideation, for being able to create an experience for others, I think that's a memory which I really cherish.
Do you have a favorite spot in the campus?
Oh, yes. I think it's like near the student center at our university. It's the student center is basically where you kind of go to the dining hall, and there's a coffee shop, there's a smoothie bar there, but just right outside, there's this very, very small like a water body, and like you have the water passing by, and there is a setup for benches. You can just sit there and enjoy the peace, look at like students filtering in and out. I love people watching and people observing, just and it kind of like, that is such a peaceful environment because you have the bookstore nearby, you have an art room nearby. So just being there and kind of disconnecting from everybody and just enjoying the calm and the chaos which is near around me.
Gordon, you have been part of the campus for over 10 years. Have you got bored of the campus? Talk to me about the vibrancy part of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm never bored. To Ria's point, there's always something going on. I mean, even outside just the student groups, the institution is always holding some type of event or having people on campus, or just the other day they had an ice cream truck here for everybody. I mean, it never ends. There's always something on campus happening. And so and it's not like you have to participate in everything, but it's a pretty vibrant campus. I mean, there's several coffee places on campus. I think there's 3 or 4 different coffee places on campus where you can sit and have coffee or tea, grab a little bite to eat. There's several different places to go and get food on campus. But then also, one of the things that's really nice, I mean, we're only 20 minutes outside of Boston. And
Right.
so if you want to go in for and go and see the city, which there's tons of things to do, or even just here in Waltham, where we're located, you can easily hop on the student shuttle and go down to one of the restaurants here in the city of Waltham. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Waltham has more restaurants per capita than like any other city, even including Boston.
Wow.
There are so many restaurants here in Waltham. There's the famous Moody Street, which just has row upon row of every type of variety of food that you can possibly imagine. And so, there's just, it's a vibrant community. It's not overwhelming. We only have, I think at the grad school, you only have about 1,000 students, and at the at the overall campus, there's right around 5,000 students. And I think we're at 164 acres. And so there's plenty of space. And you're going to get to know a lot of people. You're going to get to know the places. And not only that, but like where we're located in New England, to be able to go through those 4 seasons. I mean, as amazing as Mumbai is, last time I was there, I'm pretty sure they don't get snow. They don't have that the fall foliage. And so just to be in the New England region where we're located in the Northeast, to go through those 4 seasons, to experience that, to have that exposure to all of this beautiful time and nature, it really makes it special. So whether you are a city person, you can go into Boston or go to downtown Waltham, or if you're a nature person and you want to go for a hike or go walking in the woods, or you're a foodie person or whatever it is, there's so much to do here. And so you can really allow yourself to go out and have some fun. But just remember, education first, get your studies done, and then you can go out. But those are the things. I mean, it's a great place to be. It's a great place to study, and it's even a better place to live.
Whenever I'm interacting with students, I put a lot of focus towards peers and diversity, right? Talk to me about your experience when it comes to cultural diversity and your peers, and how did that help you grow as an individual, Ria?
Absolutely. So as I said, Bentley does have a lot of international students coming from across the country, and the curriculum is set in a way that there are multiple opportunities to probably be in a group project or in an assignment with different peers, as I was speaking about employment opportunities on campus, as well as these associations. You are always speaking to them, and they bring, as I would bring the experience which I've had back home, they also bring with themselves the experience they've had back home, whether it was their education system, whether how they would navigate the career market back home, as well as where they have worked previously, all the skills, the development, the technology, the softwares they have used. So while speaking to different individuals, there was never a competition on who's better. There was always this healthy exchange of ideas on how all of us together as a group can leverage what we've learned before, how in the best way possible we can bring that to the table, and in the process create and empower the others who you are sharing with. Was necessary. I believe that Bentley as a community is very welcoming. And as I said, right, everybody was in the same boat where they have left in our transitioning into their new life year, and everybody was very understanding and mindful of that. So instead of forming like a clique or not being welcoming, I genuinely felt like that never was the case. Everybody was there looking out for each other and empowering everybody around them. So I genuinely liked the cultural diversity. And because of that, you also get a taste of other people's culture, as I was a part of the Indian Association on campus. So I had people from South America as well as Africa come enjoy Diwali with me. As similarly, these people have a Chinese Gala Association. We had these African ball. So I get to experience a taste of their culture, their food. You get it all in one place. And it is just such a vibrant and fun atmosphere that you truly feel that you belong. So yeah, that was my experience.
Gordon, give me a little bit of stats around uh, international students. How many countries does Bentley host students from? And what would be the approximate international student count from these cities, from these countries?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, I mean, I think last count, we had something like 50 different countries where students were coming from around the world. And do an exact count, I mean, I don't know if I know exactly how many from each of those different countries, but it's a pretty diverse population.
Got it.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is like when you come here, not only you're going to get people from different countries and different experiences, but you're also going to get people from different places in the United States because, you know, the US is a big country, much like India. I mean, the culture in the North and the South are very different. And so to get that exposure as well. But a lot of times too, I thought what was really interesting is not only do you get people from different cultural experiences, but different ages. You have people from different generations, different exposure or different experiences, excuse me, in businesses that they may be doing, you know, whether you're, you know, like Ria in marketing, or whether you're in engineering, or whether you are in healthcare or hospitality, you know, all the different careers, you really get that diversity as well. I would say, you know, thinking back to the different countries, you know, our two are probably our top biggest countries where we get students from. We do get quite a few number of students from India. We get some from China, Taiwan, Ghana, Nigeria. We're starting to see an influx from Colombia. We get quite a few Nepalese as well. And those are just some of the bigger populations off the top of my head that I can think of. And I know that there's about 30 more out there where we get students from. And so it's a pretty diverse experience while you're here.
Got it. Got it. Ria, you mentioned that you recently graduated from Bentley. So first of all, congratulations for that success. Number one, what are your plans ahead? And perhaps give us certain insights into how your journey with Bentley has helped you, or perhaps is helping you achieve those plans ahead.
Absolutely. So when I started out at school, Bentley does give you a 6-week career development course, which is completely free of cost. And during those 6 weeks, they give you an insight on how to navigate the job market here at US with different like resume building workshops, mock interviews, as well as how do you build your online profile on LinkedIn, how do you go about networking. They also have various career fairs where you talk to recruiters, and it helps you understand how you go about approaching them, what kind of skills they are looking for. Bentley also helped me understand what my niche was and how to go about navigating the career field as an international student, because we have to be mindful of the various visa regulations we are under. So just attending all these workshops gave me a good head start on how I should approach. So I was actually looking for a summer internship at Charles River Lab, which I secured, which got converted into a fall as well as spring internship. And then I started full-time recently, end of
Oh,
May.
wonderful.
Yes.
Congratulations on that
Thank you so
success.
much. So I feel my future plans, I do currently work as a marketing coordinator, and I am into pharma as well as in the pharma and healthcare industry. So just bettering myself, I feel I am 100% remote, and my team is so diverse. I have managers in the US, I have managers in the UK, to just learn from their experience and grow as an individual in the company, and hopefully have a bigger portfolio of brands that I manage moving ahead.
Gordon, it must fill your heart with a lot of joy, right? To see students who you recruited turning into such fabulous such fabulous employees to such large organizations, right? Talk about your experiences about when you see students maturing and getting into jobs at such large organizations. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. That's why we do this. As much as I love the institution, it's the students that make this place, it's the students that make this such a wonderful place to be. And seeing their success, to know that, we had a small piece in that, or that I had a small piece in that, and the institution had a big piece in their success is really, it's just so rewarding to see. And to hear Ria, I remember when Ria showed up here. I remember her first day with us, and to see her now and to hear how successful she has become. And I was just literally jumping for joy when we were talking and I found out that she got this full-time position, because I remember when she got the interview. And it's just a lot of fun, because I know how, especially for international students, it can feel very, at times, stressful when they're going through that job search process. Even though we help them throughout every step of the way, we want to make sure that they're getting a great opportunity. Obviously, it takes a lot of work. I know Ria worked really, really hard, not only on her education and learning while she was here, but also in helping her find those opportunities. Because even though we work a lot with you, she still had to do the interview. She still had to go there and do the work. So, it's so amazing to see them be successful and to see them get into a position, get into something that makes them happy, to get that opportunity, because so few people around the world get that. And to know that we can set somebody up for that success is just, it's really rewarding, and it's fun to see. And it makes me get up in the morning. It makes me be excited to come into the office. It gets me excited, to be here again tomorrow, and then do it again after that, and the day after that, and hopefully I'll be here for another 10 years, and continue to see these amazing students be successful.
Gordon, I recently got to know that Bentley, of course, on popular demand, has launched an MBA, a Master's in Business Administration with a STEM affiliation. Give us that good news and talk to us a bit about why this program is so special.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, we've all been offering and teaching MBAs for, gosh, close to 50 years. So
Yeah.
we're really well versed in the MBA space. And so, but we just launched the brand new STEM designated MBA program, where students, international students in particular, gives them the opportunity to do that extended OPT, or optional practical training. So traditionally, a non-STEM designated program, you only get to work for 1 year in the US after you graduate.
Correct.
With that OPT and that STEM designation, you now get to do up to 3 years, where you
Right.
really get to develop your skills. And so we're now offering concentrations for MBA program with a STEM designation in accounting analytics, business analytics, financial analytics, and then information systems and technology. And so it really gives those students who are looking to come here, get their MBA, but then more importantly, stick around for up to 3 years and work, gain that international business exposure, get that exposure to how, things may be run a little bit differently here in the US than they may back home. But then more importantly, have the opportunity, if they choose to go back home and bring that experience with them, or bring it to another country, wherever they want to go. But it's really exciting. It's something that I've been really trying to promote here at Bentley for many, many number of years, to get that STEM MBA. When they finally announced it, I was so elated, really excited. And I'm excited for these new students who are going to come in and have the opportunity to do this MBA program, have these concentrations, and then get the opportunity to stay in the US and work for up to 3 years after they graduate.
Absolutely. Talk to me a bit about the eligibility criteria. Have you made any specific changes for international students, or any perks that international students might enjoy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the biggest one, and probably the number one, well, number two question after scholarship, that's always the number one question. But the biggest question I always give in the application is about testing.
Right.
And so, we are test optional. So, you can choose whether or not you want to submit a GMAT or GRE score. It's up to you whether you feel like your application is strong enough. And so it's a great opportunity because I know how busy people are. I know how crazy life can be sometimes. And so giving people the option to not have to take the test is really, really important. And I think it takes some of that pressure off of
Right.
people as they're thinking about applying to an MBA program, especially here at Bentley. And then the other thing we do is we do a lot of handholding. As Ria talked about, we really try to make it a seamless process for a lot of people. And so we love talking to students. We love having conversations. You heard Ria talk about, talking to my colleague Michelle, talking to an ambassador, interacting with the professors. We really want you to get that full experience. And so as you're going through your application, if people have questions, if they have concerns, they can reach out and they can talk to us. I mean, we're a pretty close-knit team here, but we're happy to reach out and talk to candidates. So as you're thinking about applying to school, for our application process, we've really tried to make it streamlined. Actually, starting in 2025, we're going to go from 2 essays down to 1, and then
Wow.
going from 2 recommendations down to 1. And so again, we're really even trying to make it easier for people as they're thinking about applying. So sorry, Ria, I know you had to submit 2 of each, but for that next person coming in, they get a little bit easier than you. But yeah, so we're really just trying to make this process as seamless as possible. But more importantly, allow people to reach out to us and talk with us if they do have questions or concerns.
Ria, as a concluding remark, what would be your one piece of advice for international students looking for their next future institution? It can be Bentley or any other. What would you say to them?
My one piece of advice is that I think like do your research on the resources any university offers you. And as I'd mentioned this before, when you were selecting a university, the university also has to select you. So do your research and utilize all the resources to the maximum. I feel from my cultural background, probably we are shy to ask questions or not, like because we think that we can come across as overbearing or rude. But I feel here in the US, everybody is so welcoming and everybody understands what position you are on, and everybody's very eager and ready to help. So do your research, utilize all the resources to the maximum. If you have to send like 10 emails instead of 5, get that information, get that knowledge before you apply. Speak to a lot of your alumni network. Your experience will be your own and individual to you, but you can always rely on others to understand how their experience has been, to kind of create this path for yourself, as well as probably to minimize that culture shock also before coming in. So my advice would be just, be authentic to yourself in your application process, and also do your research and leverage all the resources available to you from the university to understand the process better. It is a very, very daunting task to think about it and even like come abroad for the university, but you have to maximize your potential, and each and every university year gives you that the opportunity to do so. So put in the work and put in the effort to know the universities better.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a wonderful piece of advice. Gordon, any last comments for you for our viewers?
Yeah, Ria did such a great job. I don't know if I have too much more to say on top of that. She did wonderful. And so I'm just going to echo what she says. Communicate with us. Do your research. Reach out to us. Websites are great. Rankings are great. Doing your research, but a big piece of that is reaching out to us. Here at Bentley, the admissions department. Reaching out to our student ambassadors, talking with our professors. We're so excited. This is what we love to do, is talk to potential students and answer their questions, because we want people to feel comfortable and confident that this is what they can do. So yeah, do your research, reach out to us, talk with us, attend some events if you can. If you're in India, we're in India quite often. If you are in other parts of the world, check out our website. We're traveling quite often. if you can't come and see us in person, join our online events. Just, do as much as you can with us. We'd love to see you. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gordon and Ria, for sharing this wonderful story and your experiences with our viewers, with our audience today. And I'm sure a lot of you might choose Bentley as your future destination, as a future school. And of course, would have got inspired by Ria's story. And of course, how wonderful the admissions team and the staff at Bentley is. Of course, Gordon is going to be there to help you across, navigate those tough waters. But of course, iSchool Connect and I are there to help you with information, with guidance, with everything and anything that you need when it comes to applying to international schools, right? So if you are stuck, if you have any doubts, of course, do reach out to us at iSchool Connect, and we'll support you with all the guidance that you would need to navigate these tough waters, right? Until next time, stay tuned, and we'll have a yet another special guest joining us in the coming series. And until then, see you all next time. Take care.